Let's see what the Greek Finance Minister has to say about the European Union's comments and his country's financial condition. I'm joined live on the line from Athens by George Papaconstantinou. Finance Minister, thank you very much indeed for joining us. First up, Moody's saying that the Greek economy faces a slow death. How do you respond to that?
Good morning. It reminds me a little bit of Oscar Wilde's phrase about the news of my death being slightly exaggerated. We are in a difficult fiscal situation, there's no doubt about that. There is... However, at the same time, a very determined effort by the new government, which unfortunately inherited this mess, to put things right. We're submitting tomorrow to the European Commission a stability and growth program, a 3-year program of aggressive fiscal consolidation, bringing the deficit below 3% by 2012, and with a 4 percentage point decline already in 2010, underpinned by wide-ranging reforms in the tax system, in the budget, in our statistics system to address the kind of deficiencies that European Commission report that you mentioned identified.
How specifically are you planning to restore Greece's finances? Of course, we're going to this cabinet meeting today as well.
Well, we are engaged in a number of expenditure cuts in the public sector. We are overhauling the tax system to broaden the tax base and tap receipts from parts of the population and professions that are not paying taxes at the moment. We're instituting a 3-year framework where we're asking every line ministry to produce cutbacks over the next 3 years. We're freezing hiring in the public sector for 2010 and curtailing it in a 5-to-1 ratio.
But is that enough?
Onwards.
Is that enough? It's certainly the bond market doesn't seem to think so, and with spreads at the moment widening as they have done to records, there's got to be some belief out there that the country is in grave danger.
Well, I think that what the markets are reacting to really is the credibility deficit that we have. The fact that people don't quite know what to make of our data and are not quite sure whether we're going to do what we're saying that we're going to do.
Well, how do you assure people then, and how do you get that message across?
Well, I think we'll have to be reassuring them as weeks go by and as they see the execution of the 2010 budget being on track, as they see us passing the legislation we're talking about, as they see that we're serious about what we're intending to do. It's very hard to convince markets beforehand when they're deluged every day with the kind of negative reports that they've been seeing, which unfortunately, the truth be told, is that they reflect a situation which did exist, but which we're trying to change very quickly and very drastically.
George Papaconstantinou, what about the European Commission's forecast that the Greek debt burden will, amount to, 125% of GDP this year?
Well, we're projecting actually that the Greek debt will peak in next year at 120% of GDP and will start declining afterwards. And that's because we're going to start running primary surpluses, and also because we'll have receipts from a privatization program to help us reduce the debt. So, yes, it is high. The dynamic is dangerous if nothing is done about it. There are other countries, of course, which have similar levels of debt, but we are doing something about it, and that's part of the consolidation program that we're presenting tomorrow to the Commission.
Well, we had your Prime Minister, George Papaconstantinou, saying that there are severe irregularities with your statistics. How are you dealing with that, and can we believe the stats that you're just mentioning to us?
We are legislating independence for the Statistics Service. We're creating a parliamentary budget office to act as a watchdog and a checks and balances to the data that my ministry, the Finance Ministry, produces. We're legislating fiscal rules by mid-2010. We have called in Big 5 auditors to look at our budget process and identify problems in terms of the production and dissemination of data. We're legislating requirements for transparency, which were not there before. So, and in all this, we are asking for European Commission and Eurostat help and their presence to ensure that everything is done as it should be. The worst thing for me is actually to have to convince people about whether my data are right or not. And because if people don't believe your data, they don't believe your policies.
George Papaconstantinou, thank you so much for joining us, Greek Finance Minister there.